Music is a universal language and has been in existence since the very first human beings, and it continues to grow and evolve. Currently, there are more bands and musicians in the world than anybody can keep track of. The dream of being a rock star is one followed by many. In the earlier days of music, bands and artists would sell their music in a physical form. Media forms such as vinyl, CDs, and cassette tapes were what people typically listen to music on. In today's current climate, many music listeners find their music on streaming platforms. The beginning of music streaming began in 1997 with the invention of MP3.com. This was the first digital download online service. In recent years, streaming services have taken over the music industry. Apps like Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Tidal, and iTunes are what many people now use to listen to music. Currently, there are 8 million artists on Spotify, over 5 million on Apple Music, and 25 million on SoundCloud. There are a lot of benefits of putting music out on streaming services. Streaming services provide exposure worldwide. As revolutionary as streaming was and still is, it is just as harmful as it is helpful. Streaming is harmful to bands and artists because it does not pay them nearly enough. The streaming services should pay artists a fair wage per stream. In 2020, Spotify made close to $9 billion. Spotify pays their artists 0.003 cents per stream. Apple Music made $4.1 billion and pays 0.001 cents per stream. Tidal made $3 billion and pays their artists 0.013 cents per stream. Data is shown to earn $1 a musician needs to get 250 streams on Spotify, 136 streams for Apple Music, and 766 streams for SoundCloud. The combined net worth of all three CEOs of these companies is over $5 billion. A study conducted by the Music Industry Research Association found that the median musician made about $35,000 in 2017, only $21,300 from music-related sources, and 61% of the musicians said their music-related income didn't sufficiently support living expenses. The wealth of these CEOs is constantly and consistently growing year by year. Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, was even referred to in the book Spotify Teardown as the most powerful person in the music business. While they have yet to budge regarding the astronomically low pays for streams, in response to the growing controversy regarding the cost per stream, Ek, who has a net worth of $4 billion, stated, "You can't record once every 3 to 4 years and expect that it's going to be enough." Ek's comments were heavily criticized throughout the music industry. Although Ek places blame upon the lazy musician, Rolling Stone journalist Tim Ingham reported that in 2018, artists and record labels were paid 1.1% less of the total money handed over by the U.S. consumers to music retailers, a sector now dominated by streaming services, than in 2016. That percentage stat might not sound hugely noteworthy, but think on this. 1.1% of the total music retail revenues in the U.S. last year, $9.8 billion, equates to $108 million. Streaming services would be nothing without the music of bands and solo artists. It is not fair for CEOs like Ek to capitalize on the result of their hard work and then pay them less than pennies in return. When looking at the COVID-19 pandemic, many people in the industry were vastly affected. All bands and artists were unable to tour and collect revenue from live events. Many musicians were struggling to get by. Many musicians were already suffering and struggling before the pandemic even hit. An article posted by the New York Times, published in May of 2021, follows the story of British singer and songwriter Nadine Shaw. Shaw goes on to document how the pandemic prevented her from playing shows, which was her primary source of income. In an interview, she states, "I am financially crippled." Shaw, along with many other musicians, was in a position in which streaming was their main flow of income. Shaw continued to say, "If we got paid a meaningful income from streaming, that could be a weekly grocery shop. It could contribute to your rent or your mortgage when you need it the most. That's why I felt compelled to talk about it now. I saw so many artists struggling." Shaw is not the only musician to actively speak on receiving more money from streaming to live in comfort. Massive musicians such as Paul McCartney, Sting, and Taylor Swift have all spoke out against the low pay for streams, with Taylor Swift taking extreme measures and pulling her entire discography from all streaming platforms. A union of musicians has formed and gained tons of support for the cause. Will you support the cause as well and make sure artists can earn over pennies for their streams?